Yes, hello everyone. Welcome on the Janice Omaga Show. I hope you're doing fine. For those of you who are going through situations, who are sick, maybe you've lost loved ones, whatever the situation could be, we pray that you may find a comfort in the Almighty God. Yes, last week we were graced with a guest on the show. She came in and taught us much about depression. And I'm so excited because I was receiving different people asking me how to cope. How do you cope? And yes, she really taught us much. And today we have a guest who is going to tell us how she was able to overcome depression. So stay tuned and let us have a beautiful moment together. Welcome everyone on the Janice Omaga Show, and I hope you are having a great time. I'm beseeching everyone who is driving, please, to park or to make sure you first sit at home and you watch this because we want you safe. And I'm so excited to let you know that we have a friend of mine, Daphne. Some of you have watched if you've been following us, and if you've never watched her on the Diaspora Untold Stories, please go back and find her on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page. So today she's here actually to tell us more about depression. We had a visitor last time telling us about depression, teaching us about depression. And Daphne here, she told us one time she went through depression. So we have brought her back to tell us how she was able to cope up with the depression. So welcome, my dear.
Thank you. So I'm a graduate student at Boston Graduate School of Psychoanalysis.
Yes.
I'm down the road of becoming a psychotherapist. I am pursuing a master's in mental health counseling and hopefully that one day I'll open up my mental health practice.
Yes, you can.
I've grown this passion to help so many lives out there because depression is real and it's really affecting a couple, I can't even say millions and millions of lives, not only here in the United States, even way back home in Africa, wherever in Europe, it's a big deal. So what caused depression? To me, I'm going to speak on my behalf because depression is broad and it's different for everyone.
Yes.
People have different symptoms, different causes, but basically why I went into that darkness, it was the feeling of like a failure because I came miles away from Uganda to come and pursue my master's. And falling out of business school and not being able to attain that kind of put me in a situation as a failure. I felt like that's it, my life is over. If I don't have my degree, what am I going to do? Because I was planning to go back and probably work for Bank of Uganda, World Bank, something. So I felt like that was the end of my road. And slowly I went into that, depression. And what made it really worse was when I stayed and had to look for, all sorts of jobs to work, and the families. I worked as a babysitter, and honestly, there were very good families, and then there were those families that really didn't treat you well. So looking at myself as a graduate from Makerere University, coming here to do a master's in international economics and finance, now I'm a babysitter in the Ugandan community. You're like, a housemate, and they're those that were really brutal. So that exacerbated my depression. It even made it worse. So I grew more symptoms like anxiety. I remember there were very many nights I did not go to sleep. I remember not eating. So last time on the show, Mrs. Chibuka was talking about the symptoms, and those are the symptoms like lack of sleep, lack of appetite, overworrying, constant thoughts, irritability. There's something that you always feel like someone is out there to get you. I felt like a failure. I didn't even want to be in people. Naturally, I'm a very talkative person and I'm very happy spirit.
Because you lose your self-esteem with that depression. It makes you feel like
you're not worth to be in people. All you want to do is hide and close your curtains and just sleep and have that long sleep.
It's true. Actually, someone said that depression could be defined as a depressed. You feel you want to be in that depressed,
and you don't want anybody to bother you. And the worst part is when you do not talk about it. When you're in denial, people are going through depression, but they're like, it's just an episode, it's a season, but it's lasting 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, and you're not saying anything, and it's eating you up. You have to speak up. First, you have to know you have a problem, because I knew that that wasn't me, because I'm usually this more talkative, jolly person, and now my moods are gone. I don't want to go out. I'm being dragged to even go to church or go work on your hair. There's nothing that you feel you have any pleasure in. So in that moment of darkness, how I overcame depression, or how I coped up with it. In our study in mental health, there's what they call the psyche. That's the inner person inside you. Much as this is your physical body and we see you as Jen Serumaga, there is that person inside you that's telling you to do things. For example, if you're at college, there's that push that go study, go make yourself better. So when I was going through depression, I would have that person talking to me like, this is not you. Come out, like Daphne, you can do more. So that's where that's why I told you it's a mindset, and you come into your mind and get control of your mind. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't my spiritual faith, because I remember most of the times I prayed, I fasted. Then having a support system, that's number 2. One thing that really made me come out of it, Jen, you were there several times, just coming to the hospital to see me, because very many times I went to rehab for it, and just seeing you the next day, I'm this different person. They're seeing a very big change, but why? It's because I've seen somebody I know, because this is a country.
Actually, talking about that self-support, as I've realized that when you're going through that, it's more better not to have, like, say, just phone calls, but that physical, seeing someone right there, that hug, that touch. Yes, makes a difference.
Knowing that you're not alone, So I remember my mother, we had several phone calls with my mom. Even when I was in rehab, she would call like an hour, you're talking like, I had my friend Christine would call from Louisiana, wherever she was. I had very many, messages coming through, like, Daphne, people, especially those who knew what I was going through, reaching out, and that kind of slowly kept me going. My partner at that time, there's a moment, he just came in the hospital and just held me and told me, you can fight this. This is not you. I just remember crying and sobbing, and I was in the worst state of despair, like that darkness, that agony, and I felt like this is my road. Like, I can't. Depression makes you feel like you can't see any light beyond.
Yes.
Like, if this is a wall, this is where you stop. There isn't even any ray of light in that moment. So slowly I kept picking up, having these people who were helping me around, and the real the spiral where they call the icing on the cake, was when I had my first child, Christy Grace, because I was on medication. I kept seeing psychotherapists, talking out and things like that. But the moment I discovered that I was pregnant, that was it. They had to stop all this medication that I was taking. And
she's not saying you should have a baby too. But for her, when the baby came, it helped a lot, because you know why? Because you got purpose in life. Because when one of the ways to overcome depression is to know that there is purpose. If you find purpose in life, it helps you somehow also
come out and go for that purpose.
Yes.
And so I would at least wake up every morning and see my little girl, and all the sadness would just went to somewhere. I don't even know where it went. I would look forward to caring, nurturing my child, and raising her, dolling her up, and there's this new joy, and every day, I wake up, there's hope. And I'll tell you that my depression wasn't constant. It was like
In
you know,
phases.
in phases. Like they will hit me in 2012, then it will give me a break for 2013, and then I'll go out, and it would hit me again in 2014, and different reasons. It's not only now. The first one was feeling like a failure when I dropped out of Brandeis. The second one, it was, you know, not having family. My mom is far away. I have no cousins. I see people happy with their families, and that only would take me to the couch and cry, you know. And then your relationship's not working out. I felt like also after my divorce, I felt like that was another episode where I felt I cannot be independent, because all my life since I came to America, I always had somebody. And now I'm stepping out into this world of, you know, now you're on your own.
On your own.
Then it hit me again. I mean, so there are different triggers. Once you know your triggers, and you can feel your body going through that phase, then you have to learn to cope up with those triggers. There are positive coping mechanisms and negative coping mechanisms. Some people will start buying bottles. Today you buy a glass of wine to sleep. The next day you're going to become an alcoholic. Others will go gambling. Others will go, you know, video gaming, shopping, you know, binge eating. And then the next day you look at yourself, you've gained all this weight, and now it's self-esteem, and now it's affecting you. You know, it's something that always leads to another thing, you know. And so you have to find the positive coping mechanisms. For example, what I did, I prayed, I meditated, you know, I spoke to family. I always had that one thing that I clinched, you know. Find that thing that you love, and then go and do that. If it's music, go and dance. You know, if it's art, sketch, at least paint or do something, you know. Find, when you're going through depression, there is that hope, there's that little voice, the psyche that I talked about. Once it hits you, that's why in psychotherapy, they always use the term one step at a time. Today you're going to wake up happy. Tomorrow you're going to wake up really sad. But the day you wake up happy, cling on that. And then wait for another moment. Find something. Hold on to that, grip on that, and that slowly by slowly. It's not one day, I won't promise. It took me years. Actually, my breakthrough since I came in 2012 was 2016. So see, all those 4 years, I'm going through them, you know, a roller coaster of emotions. So now come to 2016, I go back to school. I try to get, you know, finding a purpose. And along the way, that's how I met actually my fiancé at that point, had my child, and there was a new whole rebirth, you know. And so I urge you that depression is different for everyone. But the symptoms are usually the same. You have to go within you and dig through your psyche and speak to yourself positively. That's why they always say, stay positive. In research that what we're studying, you know, positivity leads you to search for, you know, the good in the world. Because I remember there's that dark time where I felt like this is the end of the road. I started getting suicidal thoughts, because depression, your mental health makes your mind plays these tricks, and it just tells you that there's no reason to leave. Because I remember at that point, I think it was 2015, where I felt like, what am I doing in this world, you know? I almost took my life, and I thank God I didn't. And what stopped me is my mother's voice within me crying, because that time she had done all that she did to help me chase my dreams. So just that voice stopped me from doing it. Because I announced one time, you know how I love conversing with people, like 5 Ativans will take your life. And I remember I was taking Ativan for anxiety, and I'm like, I have the 5 Ativans to take my life. And there she comes, Daphne. You know, depression can make you feel like it's the end of the world. But you have to remember, for as long as you're above the ground, and for as long as you're above this, you're on this planet, and the sun is rotating around you, you can escape it.
I usually say that the only time you do not have a second chance to happiness, to success, to life, is when you're in the grave.
Exactly.
Because if you're not in that grave, and you know, sometimes I'm like, by the way, even in the grave, Lazarus came out of it. So it could be a situation that makes you feel like you are in a grave. But I'm telling you, you can still come
You
out
can
of
still come out of it. Harness the strength within you, the power within you. Speak to yourself positively. Reflect on the good around you. You can't tell me it's all bad. There's always something. Your parent, there's always something. Cling onto that and then move slowly. And you will, at the end of the tunnel, you will see that light. At least if you don't see light immediately, you'll still see rays of hope. And hold on to that. And so, Jane, this is the experience I have. I don't have a long story to give you, but that is it. You can overcome depression.
That's a big story
I did.
right there. And she's here.
And I'm here.
Growing.
And trying to expand it. And, in Uganda, they don't really talk about, they do, but it's not really way up there.
I think it's not only in Uganda. Most places in Africa, I would say, there's that, as I was saying in the last episode, that there's that stigma around it, that when you mention depression, people look at it as a mental, really, which is of course mental, but then they look at you like as if you are now gone. You can't reason anymore. You can't.
Cuckoo, they'll give you titles.
Yes.
Oh, she's,
Or maybe you're bewitched, or someone has done some juju on you. But yet, this is really the mind that needs help, So I've been receiving a lot of messages from different people from all over the globe. They were telling me, Jane, how can we come out of this? I can't sleep. I'm planning to even kill myself. There's many messages coming to us, but I'm telling you, you can do it. You can come out of it. You have some strength in you. You can use it and arise out of that depression. She did it.
I did.
I've come out of depression. There are many people out there. You can fight too.
Yes.
You can do it. And I can't wait to hear testimonies of different people fighting. We fight differently, of course, but keep fighting. Do not give up. I keep telling myself that when I was at the hospital back in Africa, when my son was burnt with medication, just in a twinkling of an eye, he's burnt like as if he's burnt with acid. I could not feel the sun. I wasn't eating. And now when I look at him, a very tall man, grown up, I'm like, I wish at that moment I could have seen that picture of him now, when he's able to cook for me, when he can talk to me. But that depression makes you, forget that something good can come out of that situation. But I'm telling you, yes, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel.
It is true.
We love you so much, and we pray for everyone going through depression that may you find that light. May you find that small inner voice in you that says, come, my friend, come out of it. You can do it.
You can.
And may you be blessed. We love you. And thank you so much, Daphne,
Thank you too.
for coming and sharing to the whole world.
Yes.
Many people do not want to share. But here you are, you did.
Thank you so
much. And we appreciate that someone out there is going to be encouraged because of your story. And they will also stand and testify that they are doing better out of depression.
You can do it. I did. You can.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. May God bless you. We love you so much. Share, subscribe for those of you who have not subscribed on our page. And yes, let us have this. Keep going so that we can be an inspiration. We can help someone out there in every situation that we can.
Yes.
May God bless.